Stark, you become part of a bigger universe. You just don't know it yet.
I guess just in talking about movies in general, we kind of realized that Addison had never seen really many of the Marvel movies. I had seen almost all the Marvel movies.
I've seen almost none.
Yeah, it's kind of like an opposite. Like
I'd seen two.
You'd seen two
out of all of them.
Out of all of them, and there was like two that I hadn't seen. But so we were like, it'll be fun to watch something that like one of us has seen and the other one hasn't. And Marvel is eternally relevant these days because they refuse to stop releasing them.
They can't be stopped. They won't be stopped.
I think that's what's really funny about this to me, because you've read way more actually Marvel source material. But that's the thing, I've read next to none.
Okay.
Like I read, like I would read issues at my friends' houses and sometimes, but I read books as a kid. Like I wasn't reading like fucking War and Peace. I was reading like the Young Jedi series, you know?
Animorphs.
But like, yeah, and oh my God, I read the fuck out of Animorphs. We watched them in the order they came out.
Release order, I guess.
Yeah, release. I don't know how to say like chronologically, not in that timeline. Chronologically, IRL. Okay, so Iron Man,
2008. I saw this when it came out in theaters, and I remember being kind of underwhelmed. It was okay. Robert Downey Jr. is like great, but just as a character, I don't find Iron Man or his villains especially that interesting.
It's Jeff Bridges in a bigger suit.
Yeah.
Well, there are only a handful of villains that stand out, you know, in the Iron Man Zord color.
Watching it again all these years later, my opinion is pretty much the same. It's good. It felt kind of dated.
Stark Industries.
Like it felt very 2000s. Tony Stark looks like a pickup artist. Like
Chris Angel. That's what
Chris
we were saying.
Angel, yeah.
Are you ready?
They try like almost too hard sometimes to make him look cool, especially it being kind of dated. It feels even more dated because it's like, oh, he's cool in 2008.
Yeah. Oh, it's like a Dave Navarro Cribs episode. Something about it.
Very like Ed
screams
Hardy.
That
like,
era. Yeah. Tap out shirts.
Tap out. Yeah. I don't know. The music kind of stood out to me in like a bad way. It's all this really like generic stock metal music. Again, very 2008. Something you'd hear on, you know, season 1 of Pawn Stars or some shit.
It really is like, gotta call my expert. I want you to guess like a massive actor in the 90s, like late 90s. Think like, you know, like kind of action that wanted to play Iron Man. 2 of them. There's 2 of them, so.
Oh, Bruce Willis.
No.
Well, this is pre-Rock we're talking about, so. Well, he was a wrestler.
Dwayne Johnson is still in the. They call it a ring.
Yeah, the ring.
The mat.
In the ring.
Ropes.
On the ropes.
In the rope between. I don't know.
Between the ropes.
Between the ropes.
90s action movie. Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, baby. Nicolas Cage and Tom Cruise both wanted to play Iron Man.
Really?
In the 90s.
Oh my God.
At a point in 99. Whatever studio is handling it at that point approaches Quentin Tarantino to direct it. We could have gotten a 1999 Iron Man starring Nicolas Cage as Tony Stark with Quentin Tarantino at the helm.
Well, here's the thing. It would have been way worse, but it would have maybe been more interesting to my brain, you know?
It would have been like the Jodorowsky Dune.
Yeah,
you know, like it would like except it would have actually gotten made, I guess. It'd be like the David Lynch Dune.
You are so beautiful, my Baron.
It'd be like this fascinating...
Weird. It's not good.
No.
But it kind of... You can't look away from it. It's kind of fascinating
it's unique.
In a way.
It's its own animal. You were saying that you don't find Tony Stark and Iron Man to be very, like, interesting. You're not alone.
Oh?
30 writers passed on writing the Iron Man script.
Wow.
Multiple writers passed on rewrites. Marvel Studios ended up just focus grouping the shit out of it.
Wow. Yeah.
And it's essentially 2 scripts combined into one.
That whole part in Afghanistan feels like a different movie.
100%.
It feels like it was probably an origin story by itself.
But apparently the script was not finished when they started filming. And apparently, like, people said, like, the studio got really nervous because there was just so much improvisation. Everyone would show up to film and they wouldn't have lines concretely.
Wow.
Because usually you have a written page and you have a definite set idea of what it's going to be like.
You maybe could shave about 90 seconds off your death would be nice because it's a little uncomfortable.
So there's just like a ton of improvisation, which I
Really?
think works in a lot of places. Like
I didn't
think
necessarily notice.
I think RDJ's really fucking good.
he's good at that.
Improvisation.
Yeah.
But I just think that's insane. Especially it's your first. It's not even like you're a few in and you're like, we know how to do this thing. This is your first one, and you're just like, well, production starts. We'll fill in the gaps.
See, this is exciting. This like gives me goosebumps.
One of the artists came on board after he recognized his work on Jon Favreau's MySpace page.
Oh, it was 2008.
I went to write that down on my phone and I typed Facebook.
He's checking his goddamn BlackBerry and texting and putting things up on MySpace while I'm out there dying.
Did the military agree to help with this?
100%.
Okay, yeah.
If the U.S. military is going to be involved in your movie, they explicitly have to read the script and sign off on
For sure.
everything, especially
Yeah.
how they were spoken about and depicted.
Yeah, it
So it's
can't
kind
be
of
critical.
Yeah. I feel like it is kind of hard to ignore that when Iron Man originally came out, like so much of this stuff was like, you know, Red Scare era type stuff.
There was this kind of Cold War demonology going on. You know, all the foreigners were bad and all the Americans were good.
I think it's really fucking interesting though that like they bring back this IP and they're like, oh well, where are we at war at now? Conveniently, the U.S. is still at war somewhere. So now they were like, we're bogged down in the Middle East. We'll just
Yeah.
make it that. In an effort to understand the film fully, we like had the fucking subtitles on.
Yeah.
And of course, you get some great lingo. Intellicrops was my personal favorite.
Intellicrops?
What is an Intellicrop?
It's a staple of your Intella diet. That's what it is. I love the shot of Jeff Bridges rolling up on the Segway.
With the cigar.
It's awesome. It's like it so dates it. And it's just like at the time was like, look, rich people don't walk anywhere.
Yeah, why would they?
You think this fucking dude walks? He doesn't use his legs.
If you can trip over it while walking, you can fall over it on a Segway HT. Small rounded objects like power cords, ropes, and sticks, curbs, stones, holes, and rough, uneven terrain, loose gravel, wet grass, sand, ice, waxed or soapy floors should be considered dangerous. Riding the Segway HT properly is going to be one of the most amazing experiences you ever have. Riding a Segway HT improperly can result in serious injury to yourself or others.
Some of the CGI isn't like so polished as far as like now.
Mostly in shots where you can see his face.
Yeah.
With the CG suit at the same time.
Overall, I think we're both like average movie, right?
Yeah, it's good.
It's good. Just kind of boring straight. It's Iron Man 2 next.
No, wait. We're skipping one.
Oh, fuck the
See,
Hulk.
we did it again. Okay, so let's talk about the Incredible Hulk. It's so incredible that we have forgotten about it multiple times. Disney Plus does not have the Hulk. It has literally all the other Marvel movies. Doesn't have that. I don't know if that's a rights issue or if Disney's just like, you don't really need
I think it's
to
both.
see this.
I think they're like, you can't have the Incredible Hulk, and they're like, that's completely fine.
We couldn't find it on Disney Plus, so we were like, okay, we'll watch the rest of them and then we'll come back to the Hulk. A couple of weeks later, we're like, okay, let's get together and record this video.
Knock this out.
And then we're like, oh wait, we didn't watch the Hulk yet.
We forgot.
We forgot the Hulk.
And so has history.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest, like when we first kind of tossed around the idea for this video, I didn't know that was part of the Infinity Saga.
Yeah.
Like, I thought it was its own thing.
I kind of did too. I was like, I had never seen it. I saw the 2003 Hulk, but then I see it and it is, I guess. I mean, Kevin Feige's name is in there.
Yep.
And honestly, from the start, it's just a weird movie in a lot of ways. Literally from the opening credits.
They essentially give you like the first act of a movie
Yeah.
In like
quick flashes.
Quick flashing shots with the credits over them.
It's his origin story, essentially.
Yeah, no, his origin story is the opening credits. Yeah. Bizarre choice.
Yeah. One of the first shots you see after that is also weird.
Weird for so many other reasons.
I don't even know if I can describe it. I think we're just going to play it.
We have to show it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I love it. I think it's legit. I mean, you watch Iron Man and it's just like so boring and static, like we were saying, like the shots, and then that happens and you're like, what the fuck was that?
It's like borderline experimental.
Yeah, it's like out of a fucking Harmony Korine movie or something like that.
Yeah,
like that's
real.
just a shot in Gummo.
And there's just weird details like all over it. That he goes to work and there's like a bully there who's...
It's like a fully grown man. He's like a 45-year-old man who's bullying
or older.
Him.
He looks even older.
Because he like kind of has like the body of like a 35-year-old like Jim Hardo, but then he like his face like looks old. But yeah, they like work at a factory and he's just like bullying him.
Yeah, like a school bully.
Did that happen in the workplace at that point?
Edward Norton argues with him in bad Portuguese, and then later you get to see Edward Norton speak bad Spanish.
¿Él es más stretchy? Más stretchy?
¿Él es más stretchy?
Nightmares.
We were joking. There's like multiple dogs that get killed in this movie.
And that's why Disney doesn't want to put it on their platform. They're like,
yeah.
Just,
Although, don't they have Old Yeller on there?
But that's like a sad dog killing.
That's true. I also just realized, though, it's kind of weird. In the Ang Lee Hulk movie, there's like a dog fight scene. Like that,
where he fights a bunch of dogs or something, yeah.
What's up with that? It's like dogs are the ultimate nemesis of the Hulk for something. It's like the military and dogs.
That's another problem that Hulk and Iron Man have in common, I think, is neither of them have interesting villains. Hulk's villains are the military.
Yeah.
And like that's pretty much it. Occasionally like a big Hulk.
I was about to say different colored versions of him, essentially.
It's very important to have a good villain, and Hulk, the problem with Hulk is that he's all powerful, that nothing can hurt him. So Hulk versus the army becomes all quite fast.
I'm gonna be real, I feel like I kind of like tuned out halfway through, because it's just like really boring.
It's slow.
It's really slow.
They're just like chilling around the house. They haven't set up their backstories or like who they are.
But they keep referencing them.
Yeah, it feels like a sequel.
Yeah. Well, they're like, didn't you see the opening credits?
I don't know. Overall, it's just very, very slow. Has a lot of weird decisions. Doesn't really feel connected to the other movies. Just a kind of shitty looking Hulk.
Yeah, he does look like really funny in this movie for some reason.
Yeah, they like try to make him like sexy Hulk. Like,
yeah, they're going for like, don't you want to fuck the Hulk?
His hair's like always moving and like flowing in the wind. They try to make Hulk fuckable, and it just makes this weird Uncanny Valley-ish effect, you know?
I wanted 0 gram of fat, like pumped, fierce, strong, tall, human-looking with some green skin.
It's the one we saw the most recently and the one I remember the least about.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say, is it's like I remember all of the other ones, and they're not like memorable movies per se. And maybe it's because I've seen them more. I don't fucking know. But like I retained very little from it. Then we did not watch Iron Man 2. We had already watched Iron Man 2. One thing that we kind of said when we were watching Iron Man 1 was we were like, did they just really do all the exposition through like a tech presentation?
Yeah.
They do it again in Iron Man 2.
They do it a couple times in this.
They do it a couple times, and there's multiple tech presentations in this movie, which I know he's like a tech guy. He's this like face of this company that does tech. But like at a point, I've had enough.
And it's kind of a lazy way to like...
Super lazy.
I'm literally going to present it to you.
It's like on a fucking PowerPoint, just going through, being like, here's things you need to know about Iron Man 2.
You're supposed to be watching a superhero movie, but it feels like you're watching CES or something, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, here's the CEO of Philips showing their new...
Here's our smart refrigerator.
Yeah. He doesn't like being handed things.
He doesn't like to be handed things.
Yeah, I have a peeve.
I even looked that up because I was like, is there just something we missed? Like, because my theory was he's like a self-made man and he doesn't like being handed things in life.
That was your theory? See, I thought it was the Mandela effect. as just like germaphobe.
Right.
Howie Mandel.
No, I think it was actually a Howie Hughes.
It's probably my favorite Stan Lee cameo as Larry King.
Yeah, and it's so quick. It's also my least favorite Elon Musk cameo.
Oh, and that's another like, yep, it's 2010.
He was like kind of a romantic figure back then almost. He was like the eco-conscious billionaire. You know?
Yeah, that's the thing. He was beginning his life of fraud. Mickey Rourke, who looks hilarious in this movie.
This ain't gonna cut it.
But so he shows up and like there's this bit where they're in the car, they've brought Tony the suit, like they're ramming Mickey Rourke with the car.
Yeah.
And I actually like, it's so stupid, but I think it kind of works. Like they like somehow strike that like goofiness that comics can get away with, because it's, I find there's like a large disconnect often between like my sense of humor and the jokes in Marvel movies. They just don't land with me most of the time. I laughed and then was surprised. I was like, oh, yeah, this actually worked for me.
Back it up, John! Back it up! You're on my balls, man!
Mickey Rourke has a potato bomb. It's so funny, just like the way it looks, and like, I don't know, just like when he flips it over. It's like something out of one of those old Pink Panther movies that like Peter Sellers was in. We have in the notes, feels a lot longer than the first, but it's the same length. This is my big bone to pick with the Marvel movies, is they love to do this. Okay, we have an action scene, and it's not enough that you're invested in our hero, like the villain is threatening
the city,
the world, whatever the fuck. So you have to have some like person for the audience to care about.
You gotta make it more personal.
The MCU's approach to that is to just have like some random child either get separated from their parents. Sometimes they're with their parents, but like they often get separated somehow. You see the separation take place. Yeah. There's the moment where they're like, no, my son. Yeah. And then it's resolved like so fucking quickly.
Yep.
It doesn't, you never see this kid ever again. There's like a quick like quip between them and the superhero, and then
stay
they're gone.
in school, and then they run off.
Nice work, kid.
And they're like, aren't you so invested? Feel something. Please, we're begging you. The way Black Widow is introduced.
She's like a sleeper agent, basically, for S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
She's like getting her way into Stark Industries by being an accounting temp or something.
I mean, is that what she does? Like in those scenes where you see her like being interrogated in like Avengers, like she's being interrogated by Russian guys. Did she like start and she was like, I'm great with numbers and Excel. And they were like, you're hired for our mafia gig. And she was like, I'll fucking get you. This is step one in my plan.
That's her MO.
She's like, I actually get like let go sometimes before the job's up, and it makes it really difficult to get back in with them.
For some reason, Tony Stark decides to make the accounting temp fight Jon Favreau. If she wasn't a super secret agent who actually had all this training, would you like...
That's what I'm saying. He just does that with prospective Stark employees.
Yeah. Hey, get in the ring and fight this guy.
I'm boxing today. You got to do it too. You ever train a day in your life? No, but so
he's an eccentric billionaire.
And she like throws down.
Yeah.
At that moment, wouldn't you be like,
something's up here?
Yeah, that's not a normal person thing to do. You're at the office and somebody just does that. You'd be like, how the fuck do you know how to do that?
Why are you working in an office?
Yeah, like that's fucking Jackie Chan shit. Like you teach self-defense or fighting or something. You're not an accountant. And there's some like butthurt accountant out there right now. It's like, I've been training for 25 years. You don't know what I can do. And so like, I'm sorry to that person.
I remember at the time, I hadn't even seen Iron Man 2, but I remember people being like, this isn't very good.
Less than 2 years to do this, to come up with a story, set it up, prep it, film it. Hundreds of people not sleeping.
Honestly, I'm kind of shocked the MCU made it past this whole slump here.
I think once you go, we're doing Avengers, and there might be something more after that, people were like, okay, I think I'm like locked in for this. So then we move on to Thor.
I will say it's like almost a disorienting amount of jump in spectacle, because you go from Iron Man and Hulk to Loki and the realm of the gods and
That's actually something that apparently they were worried about with Avengers, was like merging the very like grounded world of Tony Stark with the like incredibly fantastic world of Thor.
For sure.
They were afraid that would clash.
Yeah.
On screen.
It's amazing that it doesn't.
I think we felt even early on, though, it's like pedal to the metal with the CGI.
Yeah.
Like there's like, you're in it now.
Hell yeah,
we're going
full
all
out. And CG beard? I don't know what is up with his beard. I guess it's just dyed or something.
His eyebrows
too, yeah.
look like like they're dyed.
Bright blonde.
It's like a wig color.
Yeah.
It's like that, like when you see hair that you're like, that's not real. That's not actual hair.
Yeah.
They like dyed it some weird color. It's very distracting for the duration of the film.
And I guess they realized it too because they stopped dyeing it.
But no, so they hit like first fight almost 30 minutes in. We're hitting like Burly Raw levels of action. Or he's like swinging Mjolnir and kicking up ice and just like...
It's very over the top.
I get it. It's a Thor fight at the Ice Giants, but like it's dumb. There's like a monster thing that breaks out of the ice.
Gotta fight the big monster thing.
Yeah, and it's just like, yo, we're 25 minutes in.
Kenneth Branagh just loves Dutch angles and just can't get enough Dutch angles. He's going Dutch all the way.
I guess I didn't realize initially his background.
Like Shakespearean background, you mean?
Hardcore.
Yeah.
That was like almost exclusively.
Is my chin high enough?
Your chin is beautifully high, sir, presenting quite ravishing cheekbones. An overall physiognomy of irresistibility.
I think I hate you.
They wanted him to come in because he had this classically trained background, and that Thor is this like almost theatric Shakespearean situations. But at any point when you were watching that movie, you were like, oh, wow, damn. I'm blown away by the staging and the performance. Like,
no,
it's a fucking Thor movie. Like the way they talk about making these movies is like crazy to me because you don't see any of this on screen. Dude, they literally said about Thor, I think this may have been Branagh. Kenneth Branagh,
I think.
Branagh?
Kenneth Branagh.
Ken Branagh.
I think it's Branagh.
Branagh. Said it's the story of an Old Testament God who becomes a New Testament God. And I'm just like, chill, dude. It's
Thor.
You're like,
it's the Marvel Comics version of Thor.
Even a thunder god has the right to love.
They just take
it's
this
not
shit
that
so
heavy.
Yeah, they take this shit so seriously.
For Asgard, it can't be a sort of empty tirade.
Tom Hiddleston,
fantastic. We were watching it, and I was like, "Yo, he's like carrying the movie on his fucking back, like straight up." At that point, he has the MCU on his back.
Idris Elba's good. Anthony Hopkins is okay. It's not like amazing, but
I think he's like, it's like Ian McKellen. Don't put that man on a stage that's mostly green screen. It's an insult to his skill. Dude, it's like taking your peepaw and putting him in VR, you know, and being like, play the latest Call of Duty. Like, they're just like, I don't know what to do with this. This is like, they're from a different generation, you know? And so I feel like it's like Anthony Hopkins is really good, but I almost feel that you can feel that he's like, what is this? Like, what are we doing here?
Right.
You know, like I'm in like Hearts of Atlantis and like Silence of the Lambs.
Remains of the Day.
You're going to put me in this hilarious crown and have me like, I am Odin.
As I was beginning to think, I've been doing this too long. And he comes along and says, no, come on, we're going to do it.
Guess who's also a possible selection for Thor? Action star at that point in time, like 2011-ish.
The Rock.
How just like off-putting would that be?
Well, hey, if he can be a ancient Egyptian
that's true
god thing.
Scorpion King, my favorite movie. No, Daniel Craig.
Okay. Like an older Thor?
That's okay. So, that's what I was going to say. Like, no offense, but like, is this like old face Thor? Like, he just kind of looks tired. Like, I don't know. I was thinking that meme of Daniel Craig, you know, it's like his hair's fucked up when he just like looks all out of sorts. Did they do it at the end of Thor? That they're like, Thor will return in Avengers.
I remember thinking that was weird.
Just put to be continued.
It's like an old like 1930s serial or something where they're like, Thor will return in next week. Get into the pictures.
Oh, you understood the reference? It's actually a reference to the first issue ever of Thor. In which
actually
Tell me!
What are our notes on First Avenger? Oh man, how did I forget? The fucking scrawny Chris Evans effect.
Skinny Steve Rogers is nightmare fuel, kind of.
So unsettling, so just like wrong. Like it really is uncanny valley. Like your brain's like, something's wrong here. Like something's wrong. This is not human. Dude, they put so much time into it. Like, they really were like, we've got to make this look. We got to sell this because it's, like, obviously a weird thing to try and, like, when have you ever seen a movie where somebody, like, buffs up? I mean, not, like, fucking big with Tom Hanks, but, like, actually, like, the same character.
Yeah, not where it's, like, a different actor.
Dude, if there was a body double that you were going to use for this purpose specifically, could they have a better name than Leander Deeney? I'm not joking. That's real. They shot each scene 3 different times. They had Evans do the scene. They then had Deeney shoot the same scene and mimic Evans' performance and mannerisms to the best of his ability. And then they shot just the background without actors. But, like, they did a lot of work. And it looks horrifying.
And maybe there's not a way to ever do that.
No, I think it's an absurd thing to try to do.
Yeah, but like you were saying, the proportions are off. His head is like way too big, and the features on his face are like too big for the face or something.
That's the thing. That's why I think it's like perfect for Uncanny Valley, because I can't put my finger on what looks so weird necessarily. There's just a deep primal feeling that, like, get away from this thing. It's not.
It looks human, but it's not.
There's also another presentation in this movie. We have a tech presentation in
the 1940s.
Yeah, from
Howard Stark.
Howard, is that really his name? They really did, like, Howard Hughes Stark,
who doesn't look anything like
the one
he did in the last movie.
But yeah, so another tech presentation. Like, we have to stop this way of doing exposition. Papa Stark is way more like Elon Musk, because it's like the Cybertruck demo. Like, he's like, it's the first hovering car, and then, like, breaks down.
Yeah.
And he's like, ah, damn it, it'll be better when we get it out there, whatever. Like, that's very Elon.
Yeah, they foreshadowed the real Elon.
They really did. We get another child that needs saving. In this one.
Yeah.
Great to see.
How else can you make the audience care about what's going on?
Yeah. I mean, it's not like you're invested in the main character or anything.
Sign it!
But a thread that, like, similar to the Don't Hand Me Things that runs through this is Steve Rogers is born to wield a shield.
He was born to use things to block other things from hitting him. He does it with a car door.
Trash can lid.
It was his fate to use a shield and to throw it.
Think about if he didn't have that and they used the serum on him.
Right.
He could just be an average dude who had no skills with a shield.
None.
They waste the serum on him.
600 issues into the Cap comics, he still is able to do things with the shield you've never seen before.
I remembered like enjoying this movie a good bit. Not as much this time around. Like, it was fine.
See, because I was going to say, actually, this might have been my favorite up to this point, which I never would have expected. Like, if you told me Captain America would have been one of my favorites of Phase 1, I'd be like, there's no way.
I think that's why I really liked it the first time I saw it, because I was like, oh my God, I expected to literally hate this movie.
Yeah.
And it's actually good.
Yeah, because they kind of do like a spy movie kind of thing with it a little bit. Yeah.
Like, it's actually, like, it's fun. Dude, Hydra is like this fucking crazy, like, occult Nazi group that's even actually, fuck the Nazis. We're too evil for the Nazis.
super Nazis.
Yeah, we're super Nazis. Like, we're busting out to do our own thing. They, like, write the name of the cities that the bombs are dropping on the bomb. That's so cute. Like, who's got the little paintbrush in the can of paint that's, like, on their hands and knees by all the bombs? Like,
okay, it's a reference to when American soldiers would, like, write names on the bombs and stuff. But that was always struck me as, like, an informal, jokey thing to do. Not something a super evil secret organization would do.
No. It's like, make sure you have time to paint the names on the bombs before we drop them.
We have to know which one is going where.
Yeah, we'll mix them up. Otherwise, you can't just drop any bomb on any city. These are geographically unique bombs. If you drop the Vienna one in München, it will not explode. Just sit there. So did you know also the title was changed for this movie? It was not originally called Captain America First Avenger. It was called First Avenger Captain America.
I was about to say that as a joke.
That very serious name change there.
But why would they call it that?
I have no clue why you would ever call a movie First Avenger Captain America.
Again, is that a thing where they're like, Captain America, that's goofy and silly, but if we go First Avenger, Captain America, in like tiny letters,
What
like
if Iron Man was just called Iron Man Second Avenger, Incredible Hulk Third Avenger?
What if they went back after Captain America and did like a episode 4,
like a New
episode
Hope?
5,
Yeah.
6?
Well, there is what did I say this one's called? Phase 1 Avengers Assemble, I think is what
Phase
they
1 Avengers Assemble, Captain America, the First Avenger.
Yeah. All right, so then we culminate, obviously, in Avengers.
Yeah.
Which, I'm going to be real, I was surprised at how much you enjoyed it.
I was too.
The Avengers.
I was shocked how natural it felt, and like it didn't feel weird or like a stretch or like they were trying to cram all these characters in. I almost liked these characters more interacting with each other than I did like a whole movie about Thor, a whole movie about Iron Man, you know?
No, totally.
You could maybe attribute that to some of the Joss Whedon-isms, but like his style works really well with certain characters, and then like a Tony Stark, but then with a Thor, it's like...
People are so petty and tiny.
And some of the situations, there'll be a joke, and it kind of takes you out of it a little bit, or like drops the stakes down really low because these characters are like joking around.
Exactly. I hate that shit.
Yeah, I do too.
He killed 80 people in 2 days.
He's adopted.
The big whale creature flies in, and they're like fighting it. Like Addison was like, I mean, I probably could have done without this.
Yeah.
I probably could have just done with like the aliens on their little skiff things, and then like three more fly through the portal.
Okay.
And he's like, I was like, yeah, that's right, dude.
Get used to it.
It's a very apt precursor to what comes in the MCU.
You know, going into this, I was kind of thinking the same thing that a lot of people think when you look at the Avengers. And you're like, okay, super powered god alien, guy in a super high tech suit, super soldier guy, crazy mutated monster that has like godlike power, 2 former assassins. One uses a bow and arrow, and one's like a regular person with a gun. And you think like there's such an obvious power difference here. There's no way they'll be of any use in all this. They do as good a job, I feel like, as you could, giving them something to do.
Yeah, they give them like the little side mission.
It didn't feel super forced, like, oh, we gotta give them something to do.
Oh, it didn't feel forced when Black Widow is steering the alien skiff by stabbing it in the back with daggers and steering the ship that way.
Very subtle.
It's kind of like hilarious that they're there. Like, especially when you have like the Hulk, a guy who literally transforms into a monster, and then you have Scarlett Johansson be like, I can kick the fucking shit out of people. Like, I do this like crazy thing where I wrap my legs around their neck and like take them down while I spin.
Just wait till I do that on the big whale monster.
This is where we hit full franchise mode because Avengers pulls in $1.5 billion at the box office. $207 million opening weekend. Like, changes the fucking game.
Yeah.
On thing. And I think that's where Marvel Studios is like, oh, you thought we were some broke boys. I think if you look at kind of like the precedent that they set, you see why fucking DC went with, oh, let's do an Aquaman movie and a Batman movie and a whatever movie to introduce these characters. Because then we know everyone's going to come see the movie that all the characters are in. Yeah. You know, and then you have your, you know, if you're more of a Batman fan and didn't go see Aquaman, well, you're going to come see Justice League.
Yeah, man.
And then maybe you'll get on Twitter and berate a studio until they release an entire new cut of it.
A 4-hour-long cut.
We live in a society.
I will say, like, one thing that I do love about the Infinity Saga movies in general is just all of the Stan Lee cameos.
Yeah.
They just bring me joy. I think he's such a G. Like, he's like a fucking wizard, like a sorcerer, a sage or something at this point of, like, sci-fi, fantasy, cool shit. You know?
Yeah.
R.I.P. my boy. So yeah, I think my overall notes that I wrote down, they're all completely acceptable movies, maybe with the exception of the Hulk. Competently made, middle of the road movies. And so like just my biggest disconnect is always the humor and the excessive CGI. And like I said, like they have not backed off of the CGI. They've doubled down on its usage, if anything, which is a bummer, but you know, we'll talk about that as it comes. But yeah, so I feel like we were both on the same page.
Yeah.
I feel like we had fun watching them.
Yeah. I was surprised at how much I enjoyed certain movies, especially Captain America and Avengers and even Thor.
And we'll see if that holds up for phase 2. Dun, dun.